Hi guys, my name is Daniela and I'm 17. We are all youth ambassadors for Elevated Minds and we're here today to talk to you about Empower X.
Hi, my name is Maria. I'm 16.
Hi, my name is Rhiannon. I'm 16.
Hi, my name is Nevaeh. I'm 17.
I'm 17 and I study history, sociology and French at Sixth Form.
I'm also 17 and I study French, geography and philosophy and ethics at Sixth Form.
We truly believe that with Empower X, it could really make a big difference to the lives of many girls. And I say this because when I was younger, there was a situation with me where things kind of went downhill and I started self-harming. Overdosed twice, been sent to hospital, and I got diagnosed with depression and anxiety disorder. And back then, I didn't have anyone to speak to. Neither did I speak to my parents about it because there was this stigma, or there was this whole situation. Basically, like with parents, they really think mental health wasn't really a thing. So it was kind of a thing where I was making it up, or just like, oh yeah, teenage girls just going through their phase. Elevated Mind has really allowed me to really grow within myself because I would say I was really a shy person. I lacked a lot of self-esteem, but when I came to Elevated Mind in under a year, I found myself that I was putting myself out a lot of the time. Even when we do like events and stuff like that, I would also host, to the point where I've spoken to the BB's ITV, and I've also won an award which I'll be getting at Parliament. And I feel like with Elevated Mind, I really wouldn't know who I am today. And I'm not even saying that to exaggerate, but I would say like Elevated Mind has shaped who I really am, to the point where I know now what I want to do in the future. And if I didn't meet Elevated Mind and Doreen, especially coming to my school, I don't think I would be the person I am today, because now I'm really confident within myself. I'm able to do a lot of public speaking and also put myself out there and really like let other people know who I truly am. And I can't be thankful enough for the opportunities that I've had.
Before coming to Elevated Minds or joining Elevated Minds, I was someone, I would like keep my issues to myself, and then obviously it would kind of like grow into something worse, and it really took a toll on my mental health. For example, at the beginning of sixth form, I got into like this relationship with this guy, and at first it was like going really good. I don't know, and then after he just started acting like really differently, and I would say I was a bit naive. I didn't really understand. As I said, it was my first relationship, so I didn't have that much like experience. So I felt like I couldn't speak to my parents about it. So I didn't really have anyone to kind of like ask, oh, is this right? Like, why is he doing this and stuff like that. But coming through Elevated Minds, I feel like now I'm more mature. I know what to expect in a relationship and what to like not expect in a relationship. As at Elevated Minds, we have like trusted adults like Doreen that I can speak to.
I feel like a girls group and Empower X is a very important thing for girls to have, because it provides a safe space for us to talk about things and connect to each other on a deeper level in experiences that we all share.
And if we all understand each other, it means we can all help each other to provide practical solutions for our issues.
For me, I feel like there's a lot of like taboo subjects around girls and like stuff to do with girls. So I feel like a group like this will allow us to actually like address these issues in a raw way without worrying about like what boys think or what other people are gonna think.
Yeah.
And it's like really important because I think for a lot of girls, they don't realise the problems that they're facing. Like they don't realise that it's an issue. And then when they hear somebody else verbalise it, they're like, oh wait, I'm going through that as well. And so it helps them to like acknowledge the problems that they have, so they can think of those solutions, like you said.
In society, girls are really divided and we have a lot of issues individually. So if we can work together, that will help us a lot more.
So coercive control is basically this idea that people will try and force people to do what they want, and they do it in either like a covert way or like an obvious way, but it takes away a person's like choice, and like they don't feel like they have an option in the situation, so unintentionally they're like forced to do what they want.
Yeah, and I feel like this is done in like subtle ways such as manipulation, gaslighting, and you don't really know it's gaslighting or manipulation.
Yeah, but also it could be more overt ways and more like violent ways, such as like using knives and guns to threaten people.
I think it's important for girls to know what coercive control looks like, so that way when they get into like future relationships, or even not like a relationship, just like a friendship or people around them, they're able to notice these red flags and be able to like help themselves or get themselves out that situation before it gets like too extreme.
Yeah, because once you're in the relationship and you have feelings for that person, it's difficult to know when you're actually being manipulated and when it's time to like leave the situation.
And I feel like if everyone knows, or if girls know what coercive control is, they can call it out with their friends. If their friends is talking about something and they don't deep that is coercive control, you can call it out, point it out to them and tell them that's not right.
Yeah, it will stop it being normalised as well, because I feel like, especially with our generation, like gaslighting and manipulation is something that's seen as normal and okay for people to do.
I'm talking about coercive control. I've kind of been in a situation before where I felt like I was manipulated, and obviously I didn't really know what it was, and it's kind of like in a way where you're kind of gaslighted into thinking something else when it's not. And I feel like if we had Empower X, then it would have made a huge difference, because then obviously it's all females and we're able to like express our feelings and really like, you know, talk about certain situations where we wouldn't be able to talk about because the boys are here. With Empower X, I'm hoping that I can also learn from other females, so that, you know, if I get into like future relationships, I can tell what's right and what's wrong, because a lot of the times I feel like with females, when you're not really like told or like you're not guided, you feel like, you know, you're pressured into doing certain things and you're doing it because you think someone loves you, but really and truly it's really manipulation. But people don't know manipulation, especially if you haven't been taught about it. So I feel like with Empower X, us females, we can come together and learn from each other and guide each other, so that, you know, we don't get into situations where we'll probably like regret in the future. And I really also hope that I had Empower X, because I felt like it would have prevented a lot of situations. But as we go into the future, we can, you know, like prevent any future situations, and I'm really excited for this to launch.
I feel like safety is more of a personal thing, so it depends on the person what makes them feel safe. But I feel like an overall definition is just when you're protected from like emotional and physical harm. So some people don't have like that safe place, for example, like you said, at home. So it's important to have like other places and other programs where they can feel safe. Yeah. Things can like happen to people. Like some people get like online bullied. I think it's like a really common thing. A lot of people get bullied online, and like you don't really realise that it's like that big of like a deal, because like some people don't want to be labelled as like a victim, so they won't say it's online bullying. They'll just say, oh, they were just mean to me. So like in this kind of situations, it's like I think people need to have room to talk about it, so they feel like they're not a victim. They're just like they went through something, and like they can work through that. And like these kind of groups like Empower X and stuff, it gives them that space to do it.
Yeah, because things like online bullying, it's a very like unsafe situation that can escalate, and I feel like there's a lot of other examples of young girls, like girls our age, being in unsafe situations and they're not even aware they're in those unsafe situations.
I was just gonna say, I feel like, like building on what you guys said about like not having that safe space at home. I feel like then people look for like the safe space in other places, so like social media, for example, and then because they haven't had like this safe space, like they don't know what a good safe space looks like, so they kind of take like certain abuse and stuff because they think that's normal. They think now like it's okay, or they feel like they deserve it, or they just feel like this is what it's supposed to look like, when it's actually like the wrong idea, like it's a twisted version kind of.
And I feel like when, for example, young girls may like seek safety in other places, and this could be like with a boyfriend, and that could like lead to other issues where a boy may tell them to carry a weapon for them, and they're too far in and they don't know if they can get out of the situation or how to say no.
And like when it comes to like sending pictures or something, like you trust that guy so much, you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this one thing that everybody tells me I shouldn't do, because you're like, oh, it's fine, like this is my safe space, he's my safe space. And like they'll end up sending like these inappropriate pictures, for example, and like the boy will have it, and like he's like coerced you into like doing that because like you feel like that's your only option, like to keep him, because he's your safe space, isn't it? And like and then the boy will like share it, and now you're in a even more like risky situation, because you don't know who has that picture, you don't know how that's gonna like affect your future and stuff. So girls just need to be reminded, like you have like safe spaces outside of individuals, you know, like there's like groups out there and like communities that you can lean on.
And with Empowerment X, that's what we aim to do, provide like a safe haven for girls to come and talk to us.
I feel like you can actually speak to your parents about things. So I feel like, especially coming from like cultural background, I feel like there's not always that like comfortability to like speak about like personal things or things that's happening like modern day, because it just feels like they just can't relate.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely depends on your parents. Me personally, I normally talk to my older sister because I feel like she can relate to me on a deeper level. And with my parents, it's more
it's either they won't understand me or it's more of like a lecture type of thing.
Yeah.
Real.
So I feel like having groups like Empowerment X provides a place for us to share things that we necessarily can't share with our parents and with people that are in positions of power.
Yeah, and having maybe girls that are a tiny bit older like us, and we're going to be talking to girls who are 12 to 13, we can act as role models for them and give them advice when they're struggling.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that because you guys are talking about how you have like your older sisters and stuff. Like, there's girls out there, like me for example, I don't have any sisters. I just have like 3 older brothers, and then I have my parents from Nigeria. Like, I'm not gonna talk to my brothers. I'm not gonna talk to my parents. It's like there's no like room for me to tell them things, but I feel like they're gonna get it, and I feel like that's like a lot for. That's how it is for like a lot of like girls. Like, they don't have that like comfort or like that bridge between them and like their parents or like their carers, where they feel like they can talk about these kind of like topics that are so like explicit and stuff. So like we need like Empower X so we can have that room, that safe space to do that.
I feel like Empower X is a really good opportunity for girls, young girls who go through like, not domestic abuse, what is it? Like just domestic abuse, yeah. As I think it's, I mean, I haven't gone through it personally, but I think it's a difficult, like, it's just difficult to speak to someone about it. And I feel like Empower X gives an opportunity to girls to speak about it in like an entrusted space. So I had a friend and she was getting hit by her boyfriend, and it took her quite some time to feel like comfortable speaking to other people about it. And I feel as if Empower X had existed back then, she would have felt a bit better about speaking to someone about it, and she could have also like seeked help. So I feel like Empower X it needs to happen.